I didn't lie to you on that polygraph, I promise. Chris, I know. Stop. It's time. Stop for me.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 documentaries that left out the craziest part.
Stephen Avery did not just come upon Teresa Halbach by accident. He targeted her.
For this list, we're looking at surprising omissions from documentary films and series. What's the craziest thing you've seen in a documentary? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, uncovered footage. 3 identical strangers.
This can't be real, but you know there's nothing you can do to stop it, start it, change it. You just go with it.
Imagine going to college and being greeted by people you don't know, calling you by a name that isn't yours. This was the case for Bobby Shafran.
He had the same grin, the same hair, the same expressions. It was his double.
The student soon discovered that the name he was being called, Eddie Gallant, was that of his long-lost twin brother. The pair's story hit a number of news outlets, catching the attention of David Kellman, another adoptee who realized he looked just like them. Yep, the boys were triplets.
Which one's David? I keep forgetting.
You're Edward.
Right.
Okay, who are you? You David? You're Robert. All right, Robert and Edward.
3 Identical Strangers reveals that the trio were part of an experiment, intentionally separated into 3 families of different economic backgrounds.
These people split us up and studied us like lab rats.
For the study, the boys were said to be filmed throughout their childhood.
Eddie told me that when he was younger, he remembers people watching him and taking notes. And they would ask him questions, and he would get frustrated with the questions.
The documentary omits this footage, however, as it was not made available to the triplets or the filmmakers. Number 9, relationship with the film's editor, The Staircase. When watching a documentary, it's easy to believe that everything you're watching is the undeniable truth. Unfortunately, documentaries can be biased.
That was the last I saw Kathleen. Alive. No. She was alive when I found her, but barely.
The Staircase tells the story of Michael Peterson, a man whose wife was found dead at the bottom of a staircase. It was believed that Peterson killed her.
No way in this world my father ever would have hurt Kathleen. But the realism of their investigating it did seem real.
The docuseries shows the ensuing trial from Peterson's perspective. What the series does not reveal, however, is that its editor was romantically involved with Peterson during portions of its creation.
She fell backwards, hit her head against the door frame.
Right, and then fell on the floor.
And hit her head again.
Right.
It also neglects to mention that Sonia Pfeiffer, who is married to Peterson's lawyer, covered the trial as a reporter. She even interviewed members of the jury while the trial was still taking place.
It just never occurred to Michael Peterson that people wouldn't believe him when he said she fell down the stairs. That's really what this is all about. He thought he'd get away with it.
Number 8, Horizons and Mission. Space, the Imagineering Story.
The critical problems facing the world can and will be solved by creative people who are both dreamers and doers.
Unless you are a hardcore fan of the Disney theme parks, you may not know that Epcot used to have an attraction called Horizons. Opening in 1983, the dark ride showed guests different visions of the future.
Step into the future in Epcot Center's newest invention.
It also allowed them to choose their own ending. Fans of Epcot have even referred to the attraction as the park's thesis statement, which begs the question, why was it glossed over in the Epcot-focused episode of the Imagineering Story?
Here was something bold and exciting and huge and brand new and not a castle park, but something entirely different.
Some believe this may be because of Horizon's eventual replacement, Mission Space.
The sensation, real.
I can't lift my hands.
This ride had become notorious for causing guests to experience dizziness, nausea, and vomiting, as well as being linked to the deaths of 2 riders. Naturally, it was missing too. Number 7, The Killer's History, Tower. True crime has been a hot topic as of late, with streaming services, podcasters, and YouTubers all cashing in on retelling the gruesome details of real-life crimes.
I heard what I thought were 2 firecrackers, and I thought, well, somebody still has firecrackers from the 4th of July.
The morality of true crime obsession has always been a topic of debate, something that The Tower indirectly acknowledges by giving barely any airtime to its subject's perpetrator, Charles Whitman.
This is a warning to the citizens of Austin. Stay away from the university area.
There is a sniper on the university tower firing at will.
Dubbed the Texas Tower Sniper, Whitman was a former Marine who killed his wife and mother prior to carrying out a 96-minute shooting spree at the University of Texas at Austin.
The sniper has been seen waving a white flag on the west side of the building.
This information is barely even brought up in the film, and the filmmakers even chose to show a picture of him as a child rather than as an adult.
It started last night when a man reportedly killed his wife and his mother. That same man apparently rounded up an arsenal.
Number 6. Failed polygraph and motivation. American Murder, The Family Next Door. American Murder, The Family Next Door recounts the Watts family murders, a case in which a man by the name of Christopher Lee Watts admitted to murdering his pregnant wife.
If somebody has her and they're not safe, I want them back now.
He would later admit to killing their 2 daughters as well.
I mean, I hope that, if you did have something to do with their disappearance, it would be really stupid for you to come in and take a polygraph today.
In American Murder, Watts is seen taking a polygraph test and failing.
I really need your breathing to be normal.
Okay,
you are all over the place. So.
I'm sorry.
What the documentary doesn't show, however, is how badly he failed that test. While the usual indication of a lie is -4, the tab reported that Watts scored a -18.
It is completely clear that you were not honest during the testing, and I think you already know that. You did not pass the polygraph test. Okay. So now we need to talk about what actually happened.
The documentary also neglects to address letters Watts wrote to pen pal Sherilyn Cadle from jail, in which he explicitly states that his affair was a motivating factor in his crime. Number 5. Adult content. Bronies, the extremely unexpected adult fans of My Little Pony.
Creative Bronies are the final bunch you need to know, making music, art, and stories, all inspired by the show.
In 2010, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic was a hit with a surprising demographic: adult men.
Took 2 trains to meet up with some other Bronies, and then we carpooled over here. So the total travel time would be about 7 hours.
Bronies, the extremely unexpected fans of My Little Pony, serve to highlight those older folks who take part in the fandom.
I'm a Brony. I'm a Brony. And that's when I knew that I was a Brony.
Unfortunately, while well-intentioned in its portrayal of the good side of the fandom, the documentary doesn't really paint the full picture.
There's nothing violent about it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a cartoon that people enjoy for good reason.
While it's understandable that My Little Pony had to do damage control when news organizations were making them out to be bad guys, it feels negligent for the documentary to completely gloss over the provocative images, edgy animations, and many creepypastas that exist. It's all adult content that's far too accessible for the show's true demographic.
My Little Pony might be opening some people's minds about what is acceptable in behavior for men.
Number 4. Faking cancer. Tiger King. Anyone who bought into the Tiger King craze of 2020 knows that Joe Exotic isn't the most reliable guy.
If somebody thinks they're going to walk in here and take my animals away, it's going to be a small Waco.
But did you know that he once lied about having cancer? After Rick Kirkham's production studio burned down, Joe Exotic was seen on social media telling followers that he had been diagnosed with prostate and bone marrow cancer, and that he only had 2 months to live. During this time, Exotic begged fans for sympathy and cash to pay for his expensive hospital bills. In reality, however, Exotic was only suffering from an infected prostate, an outbreak of herpes, and a serious case of dehydration.
Why would you give to a facility to rescue animals to live in luxurious cages? Well, how about that one?
Shockingly, in spite of the serious damage the story would have done to his credibility, it never made it into the 2016 docuseries. Number 3. Horrors sent through the mail. Don't F with cats. Hunting an internet killer. Over the course of the internet's decades-long history, there have always been people who have taken advantage of its allowance for anonymity.
One of the results was a YouTube video set to New Order's True Faith, and it was just like a slideshow of this guy posing.
Luca Magnotta, the subject of the docuseries Don't F with Cats, initially used this anonymity to upload videos of himself tormenting cats, violence which would later escalate into the murder of an international student in Montreal.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Police will need dental file to identify you, bitch.
Horrifically, video of the crime was uploaded to shock websites, and gruesome evidence was mailed to a number of locations across Canada.
Somebody, their dog died or their cat died or something, and they didn't know what to do with it.
While the series does describe how political offices were targeted by Magnotta, it neglects to mention that he also sent a few of these disturbing packages to several schools as well. Number 2, Avery and Halbach knew each other, making a murderer.
And a lot of things seem to clearly point to him having done it. As much as you mentally want to give the benefit of the doubt to him, it becomes impossible.
When the first season of Making a Murderer was released in 2015, it took the world by storm. In the days following the series' popularity boom, however, those familiar with the case began to point out a few neglected facts that could have easily changed the public's perception of Stephen Avery and his story. Perhaps most surprising is that the victim, Teresa Halbach, and Avery knew each other prior to the murder. Avery allegedly requested her when he scheduled a photographer for the fateful day she went missing.
She was there to photograph this 1989 Dodge Caravan. Avery regularly advertises in Auto Trader magazine and says Halbach has visited his home on assignment several times.
Avery's DNA was also found under Halbach's trunk, and Halbach's phone and camera were found inside Avery's home, a fact that was brought up in court, but left out of the series.
It would be impossible for us to include all of the evidence that was presented at trial. That's called a trial. What we made was a documentary.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Timothy Treadwell's death, Grizzly Man. If you were in possession of audio capturing the moment a person died, would you include that audio in a documentary about their life? This was the moral question director Werner Herzog wrestled with while making Grizzly Man.
We're into autumn now, Expedition 2001 coming to an end. The bears moving safely towards their winter dens, the foxes hiding in the woods.
The documentary focuses on bear enthusiast Timothy Treadwell, who, along with his then-girlfriend Amy Huguenots, was attacked and killed by one of the bears he spent his time filming. In the documentary, Herzog shows those who knew Treadwell his final audio tape, even listening to it himself. He decides not to play the contents for the viewing audience, though.
You must never listen to this.
I know, Werner. I'm never going to.
Herzog feared it would be disrespectful, choosing instead to celebrate Treadwell as he lived, rather than how he died.
This is my life. This is what I do. And I love it.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.